Dr. Dave, did you have a question earlier for Mr. Keshe?
Hi, Mr. Keshe. I did have one question. I've noticed over the past maybe 3 weeks or so that the first and second cups aren't working as well as they used to. My concern is perhaps another mutation that has developed, and I'm not quite. I was wondering what we can do about that.
What do you mean, first and second cup?
The first and second cups of life, as published in the scientific journal, I'm finding that the protocols. I mean, the first few months the protocols work very well for my patients, but in the last 2 or 3 weeks they don't seem to work as well. People aren't recovering like they used to in the prior months.
This has been risen in Iran, and this is primarily is due that you lost the sight of your work. Many people have moved into GANSes mixtures, and they have forgotten the fundamental principles with GANSes. You are suggested to use 20% mixture of GANSes, but if you read the first protocols, you're advised to use the GANS waters. People are heading directly into adding GANSes because they think now they see something. Or you go back to original protocol, only use GANS waters. In the case of powerful attacks, which means corona has taken what we call accumulated energy, you add GANSes. And when you achieve the first stage of reversal, you go back to water. This is what we saw in the hospitals in Tehran. They were telling us exactly what you said, sentence, word to word. And I told them, what are you doing? Oh, we are adding GANSes, we are adding this. I said, those are when you need, when it's explicitly a stronger attack. Go back to basic. Use GANS waters, and you tell me. And they went straight away last week, and they said the results is back. It's the habit of the man who thinks the more he has, the more he gets. Where GANSes, it's very simple. The humbler you become, the weaker you become, the more energy you drain from the virus. It's especially people who go for 20%, 30% GANSes. We advise you to go short time, sharp, decapitate the GANSes from higher energy and then go back to water GANS. And you will see the same result, even better. Nothing has changed. Man's greed eyes for more GANSes to get better results has blinded him from the reality of the plasma technology. Go back to basic. You will see you get better results than even before.
None of my patients are using the GANS directly. They're only using the GANS waters as originally done. I've never suggested that they use the GANS itself, just the water.
You find out what's your problem. What is the problem with your GANS? You're not producing the right GANS, or you're not producing the GANS mixture needed for corona. Unless you hit a mutation of it, then you have to find out how to change the mixture. Just understand you're dealing with a very clever virus. Don't change. Stay with GANS. If they don't, put them on a heavy GANS and see what results you get. If you don't get results with 20% mixture, go back to water. GANS waters in hospitals in Tehran are giving us the original design result. And now a new system has been developed in Iran for the corona patients. They have developed, I was just looking at it maybe an hour ago. new systems in hospitals, so we don't even need to change the GANs anymore.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
If you don't get the results with the water, go back short term with 20% mixture, return back down again to water. But never lose focus and sight on using the water. If you get long infections, long-term infections, you're not getting any result. You try to create what we call the circulation of the energy in the lungs. If that is the lung case, which means you need to use, it's one of the protocols, the cup on the chest or on the heart. Then you move the lock. There is a number of ways you don't see because you leave saturation. But if you create a GANS with the same material as before, check your system which you're producing the GANSes. In China, we change plates every 2 days. All the plates in all the systems, which is thousands of them, change regularly every 2 days. If it doesn't work, it means you lost the strength to the virus. You have to produce a strength to the virus that you can link and drain it. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. It's Dean here from the UK. Can I ask a question regarding the Linz exhibition? When Tesla released his knowledge to the world, that exhibition was, I don't know how it was received at the time, at the moment, but what this exhibition that you're about to release to the humanity is so amazingly wonderful to hear. And it's such a big thing that how's the world going to react to this this knowledge that's about to be released? Will it be released so that all the media understand and release this information?
We are working even tomorrow. We are working in conjunction with the Iranian government media centers, radio, television, and international news. They are working to announce it from Iran to the international news. Austrian press has been and is under contact with the Keshe Foundation team, and will be a concerted effort by the Iranian officials in Austria to support the technology to be known by European nations. We are supporting this unless something goes drastically wrong as a joint venture between Iran, China, and Austria. And all the medias, all the dignitaries, some 51 ambassadors are invited. And usually we get about 30% to 50% of ambassadors always respond to Keshe Foundation invitation. We expect the Iranian ambassador with the presence of the Austrian representative from government to open the exhibition. But you have to understand the limitations of what we call Corona. And then in the following 2 days, we expect those who are interested to complete the purchase or the orders. And then we see how it takes shape. We received assurances from Iranian officials that all the international media will be informed of such exhibition by Iranian scientists and Iranian development. There are systems embedded in this technology, in this system, which are actually built in Iran. It's not just by scientific base. There are electrical parts which is developed especially by request by our team in Iran, and it'll be embedded in the system.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That's wonderful, wonderful news to hear for humanity. It's just such an incredible thing to know that this is actually happening, and that that sort of technology and the beauty that you're about to release is actually really here in this reality and about to manifest. And we thank you so much, your beautiful soul, and for everything you've done for humanity. We really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What we are trying to do is to turn the table on media in the coming week, the next 2 weeks, against the Keshe Foundation. And it'll bring a lot of attention, it'll bring a lot of reality, and we have to see how far what I call Fox News will have control over this. And we'll see how much we can bring it out in public. We'll see what will come up, as many people, heads of communications of largest organizations in Iran have got involved.
Mr. Keshe, this is Yvonne. I haven't seen as yet any notification from the KF Global company on the stock market, or?
We're keeping away from KFGL. KFGL valuation is beyond what it is in the market, and the White House has decided to put a hand on it. This technology belongs to Keshe Foundation, not KFGL.
Will that have further implications down the road on technology being produced?
We don't know. We wait and see.
Because I was hoping that they would come out with that so that it would get the virus technology going quicker.
There's a lot of things happening. Don't forget our base support, which has been achieved, is sits in Iran. And we have to see what the next steps comes out of Iran. Even in Iran, we have oppositions and we have supporters.
Well, I hope it gets resolved very quickly, Mr. Keshe.
We've been trying for 6 months. We are just getting to, it goes from one thing to another. The European market, European, we'll call it common market, has taken a decision against Keshe Foundation collectively in the past 2 months. That we try to ignore it, but the Iranian leadership has taken a position this technology has to come out. And now it goes KF with the support of part of the Iranian powerhouse and the rest of the world, and we'll see where we get. It will go through people's power, where people will do the technology to save themselves from Corona and the rest, and the governments will follow. It looks that way at the moment.
And will part of the exhibition be shown on the public workshop?
Possibly, depends what we decide. Not before the opening, maybe the following Thursday, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I have a question, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, Mr. Jala.
Good evening, Mr. Keshe. You said, look to the stars, it is a mono. Is our sun also mono?
Yep, 100%.
But from where came this composite GANSes here on Earth?
It's not just collectively. There is a base energy that becomes a star. And every sun carries a base energy.
And the interaction between itself and the others, which makes this diversity?
More or less.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is by others is a reduction within itself.
So most of this energy come with itself, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
We got to understand, as is in the book number 4, hopefully it gets published sooner or later, what we see as the surface temperature of the sun is not the temperature of the sun inside. Not necessarily. The high temperature of the surface of the sun comes from the inertial mass interaction with the fields of the planet itself, or the star itself. And the GANSes of plasma inside are cool as anywhere else.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe, Stephen here from California. Are there any updates on Arizona at this time?
John tells us he's nearing completion. Once we complete testing the units in Austria before exhibition and during exhibition, then we go with the delivery of the units to Arizona and the rest, which will start sometime in the next 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks. Because we had to find all the pitfalls, we had to find what is wrong, what is there. We must have corrected over God knows hundreds and hundreds of mistakes or corrections or adding to the knowledge since the design was done some 6 months ago.
So there's no political issues with that Keshe Arizona then in Arizona?
Why?
Everything. No, I guess they're welcoming the technology in Arizona as opposed to blocking it.
Technology is a joint European-Chinese cooperation imported into China, into America. And we are a major shareholder, we are a majority shareholder, the foundation is. And the structure sits with John. Everything is on target to open. The building should be ready. We had to design and redesign many parts over. We are delayed by nearly 6 months, partially due to Corona. And then since we got on to assembly, a lot of things needed to be corrected. Now we're in the phase of delivery. The first 25 units already is in the structure, but we had to wait to see what we need to add to take off before completion. And once it's done, the computer side or control side has already been paid for nearly 6 months ago. And then it goes how automatically we assemble the systems and deliver. There'll be mainly 4 or 5 health centers around the world which open up simultaneously together or within a few weeks from each other. Arizona, Canada, in Far East, China, Iran. Brazil is on the card to play. Austria is another point for us, in Germany. We'll see a rapid opening between, we're targeting around about 10 units minimum per center.
Mr. Keshe, I had another question. The Earth seems to go in cycles, and is the time in the coming future, very near future, a time where we could receive more meteorites?
Don't know. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. And secondly, if they come, we are ready to defend.
Good. So there is already a system in place to deal with that?
We have developed this technology nearly 12 years ago in Iran. And we have shown this work to Americans.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Thank you so much.
This, the defense technology, the space defense technology is part of the space development, which will be developed in Tehran in a different way.
Mr. Keshe, Stephen here from California again. At this point in time, what do you believe is the biggest issue that's causing most of the countries to go into the post-corona mentality? What do you think is holding us up from being able to transition to post-corona?
Post-corona will come through financial pressure. Nations' massive unemployment. Government not being able to meet. Chinese government has issued warnings. In 2021 could be shortage of food. Already they are 1 year ahead, they are trying to warn. We see massive changes in fuel, cost of the fuel. We see colossal damages which cannot be repaired for 25 years. And these forces for governments to look for new dimensions, new technologies. Countries have run into, some countries, to double-digit unemployment. And some countries are very high, large number of people unemployed. And they need new technologies because some of them will never start again. Companies gone bankrupt, wind it down. It's gone, not there anymore. So new technologies are needed. And we hear this one from Iranian clergies in past week very clearly about Corona. They have gone out, I can put it on, you can hear it, systematically saying the Corona, every new technology has to have a chance, especially Keshe Foundation technology. Forget about WHO. It works. We need it. We use it. And it has to become applicable. As I explained last week, President Rouhani decided to attack Keshe Foundation directly on national television. And we directly responded. And Officer Al-Khabani and support team immediately went to the station and asked for a full apologies with the lawyer's documents. And now we are sitting and waiting. We will become gradually, one way or another, out of the cat, out of the bag. And we have to see how the governments will react to unemployment and the rest of it, or as a new technology creating new jobs before getting it done, we move on.
In the political sphere, you had mentioned Harris before. Have you had any attempted contacts with the vice president nominee or anything at this point with regard to Corona?
We wait for response from that side. What is the political situation now in the state?
Chaos, fighting,
We
diversion.
see it, we see it all. It needs to bring a point of collaboration and unity. a point where the change will come. And what we call new era will come through new technologies. There is no other ways.
Anxiety and depression seem to be a residual effect of this, that as more and more people are suffering suicides, heavy drinking. Hello?
We're listening.
Is there a protocol that can be applied to that aspect of humanity that would help those people balance? Perhaps it's already part of Cup 1, but is there, like the Cup of Soul, does that show an increased effectiveness to reversing some of those emotional issues with some people?
In what way?
The emotional anxieties and of stress of just, from the residual lockdowns and mask wearing and all these things that are being done to people to control them, other than the benefits that we normally see. Just is there a protocol that could be applied that to someone that suffers from psychosis or mental anguish?
Yes, there is, but part of it has to be balanced on by the government. Government can and have to show the progressive development. As you know, I announced weeks ago, we back Kamala Harris as the vice president to be the president. She'll be the first black woman president of the United States. And in that process, we see the collaboration with the Harris's administration as part of that change to come in. And what we see in the distance is Harris will bring a woman white vice president. For the first time, we see a joint female leadership in US. And with it, we'll see the liberation of women movement in America and responded worldwide with it, to bring the kindness and love of women and mothers into forefront, not the men anymore. When I announced we see Kamala Harris as a viable candidate, many people questioned it, and we see now it's happened. And this is as part of the process we saw within the Keshe Foundation with the two heads of the Keshe Foundation. Man has to move for the time being in the dimension of the love and care and gentleness, not the arrogance of women, and the man who created more arrogance and war with it. And with it, will bring a new dimension in policy. For sure, Kamala Harris will be the next president of the United States. That's without a doubt. We don't see Biden completing his cycle. And she will bring a woman, female with her in the board, full women. And we see the head of the Senate will move it that way in the same lower house. And with it, this movement will go around the world. As I'm invited back to China by Chinese government in the upcoming time, the whole program at the moment is on the move for this visit, official visit back to China as the head of the Keshe Foundation. Everything is under preparation by national security in China for me to return. We see the head of the Keshe Foundation in China taking prime position in interaction with the Chinese government. And this process with it will bring a lot of changes. New technology is needed. A new way of thinking is needed. And in so many ways, everything is set for that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your knowledge, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for today. And I hope we will be able to give you more detailed information by Thursday. And hopefully by the following Thursday, what we call the Linz Fair will become a breakthrough in science and technology, where we don't show the enhancement unit, but we show to national, international media a new breakthrough in every aspect: farming, agriculture, health, energy, the space and defense, deeper space defense. And in so many ways, showing a breakthrough in knowledge and technology. And as part of this work, we are on the tour of meeting ambassadors and leaders who will and invited to attend the Linz this week to make sure everything goes smoothly. And we have received the backing of the Iranian leadership that they'll support through the Iranian ambassador and Iranian officials to see the success of this conference in Austria as a joint Iranian-Chinese-Austrian venture. We'll see what will come up.
As you're saying, are we there yet?
We are already past it.
Okay.
Thank you very much indeed. Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe, for coming to join us and speak with us today.
Well, that's a beautiful note to close on. I'd like to play the party that Mr. Keshe keeps referring to, that the universal community is assembling and other souls are coming back. I'm sure many of us have heard this, but as with most of the teachings, we can hear it more than once, and it's still very fresh. Anyone else?
Mark, hi, it's Dean from the UK again. I'd just like to thank all the participants that have been part of this this evening here for me. It's been a wonderful presentation again by everybody. Thank you, Alex, Peggy, all of you, Mark yourself, all of you. Thank you so much for everything you do for humanity, Mr. Keshe. It's just been wonderful. And all the participants, all the souls that are present, thank you for being here. It was always meant to be, and your soul led you to this position. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, that may not happen. It looks like I've lost it. Okay, perhaps we'll do that next week. Sorry about that, Alex. I know you had requested that.
It's all good, Mark.
Okay.
But thank you, and thank you for all your work.
Sure. I want to thank everybody. We're all doing it together, as Mr. Keshe said. It's all of us. So this is the Keshe Corona Telegram meeting in English for Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. It's the North American team. The host has been Peggy Hunter, along with co-host Alex Skoric and myself, Mark Anderson. Thank you again for attending, for contributing, and keep sharing the knowledge, because people are certainly going to be asking. Have a good day, everyone, or good evening, or good night.